Okay, we have a 1500 truck right there. Absolutely beautiful setup. Let's go over this one. It's another custom build. It's very similar to the fishhook, but obviously it's not a fishhook. There's quite a few differences. So let's go over it here really quick. We're gonna move it over out of the way so you can get a good view of it out of the way of this little trailer, and we'll just kind of break it down and look over everything and look at the payload on the truck. Look at that, it's just sitting on there nice and clean. Anyway, let's go over it really quick. All right, it's a well-kept little truck. They've done a good job. GMC. Man, it's nice. It's fall again. Everything's getting orange and green. Okay, look in that mirror. I think we're doing good here. Okay, there she is. Very nice. That is a 1500 Chevy, and I believe it's a 2017. It's not a Chevy, it's a GMC. So let's look at it really quick. Wrong sticker. It's over here. 2017, yep, 12 of 16. So it's a 2017 model, and it's got a 1700 pound payload. Now, many folks got lots of videos on these campers here, and many folks ask, you know, what's the ideal setup? I get that email quite a bit. The ideal setup is a 2500 or larger with the truck camper, you know, combo. That is my point of view. But you most certainly can run down the road safely with a decent setup as long as you're remaining light. So this camper is probably around 1650 on weight, possibly 1700. So yes, it is right at payload, and that is not ideal. It's a little under payload. Not ideal, but you can do it safely. My personal pickup truck is a F-150, and it hits its limit when I start loading up the trailer. So it's my view that you should have a 2500 or larger, but not everybody has the same financial situation. You know, everyone has a slightly different thing going on, and they need to make things work. And in that case, that's where you do a custom build that has, you know, the bullet points, and we'll run inside there really quick and look at it. It has all the bullet points of what you need, but it doesn't go about overboard, right? So that thing is sitting on there. You can see it sitting on there good and level. That is not too much weight for the truck. Once they get loaded, they'll want to be careful with how they load, right? How they load their gear. So those of you who are in a situation where you can go with a 2500 or larger truck, by all means, go do it. But those of you who are with a 1500, there is a way you can do it safely and you know, not go too far. But anyway, so that's what that is. That's the payload, and that's the camper. So let's kind of break into it. We'll look at all the dimensions of the camper. We'll run in there and see what it's got and all of that. So this is on our fishhook platform, and I personally really like this little camper. It's the fishhook platform, but it's got a bathroom in it. At least a bathroom stall. It doesn't have a full-on bathroom. So that's why that window is so much further forward. So just like the fishhook, this is 86 inches long from here up there to the very front. That's 86 inches. And then on the width here, from this point, right, the framing itself, over there to that end, that is 82 inches, okay? And then it has got an east-west cab over bed. So from here forward. And for those of you who don't know, you're new to the channel, you're new to us as a company, just stumbled across this video. We were up here in the good old Alaska. It is fall, beautiful fall day, and we've been manufacturing, you know, these slide-in campers and truck toppers and all of that, going all the way back to 1971 up here in the state. So we have learned a thing or three about manufacturing for sure. But you know, so 54 years of manufacturing up here, and this is what we do, you know, custom build for particular situations. So not everybody has the same kind of a spec, and I'm gonna go over lots of the different builds that we do. Like that one, I'm gonna end up going over that camper. It's very similar to another truck that we just had in here. That one we built back in 17, and I'll go and walk through on that one in the channel on another video. But I do all kinds of stuff like that, and it's really to show folks what's possible. And there's a lot of companies getting into this category of building truck campers because it works. You know, it's nice. You can get your trailer out here, you can go anywhere you want in parking lots and down in riverbeds and anywhere, right? So the truck camper combo is really nice. But anyway, that's us. We've been doing it a long time. So this camper, again, on the Fishhook platform, you can go to the channel and look at the different ones. You can mount this camper down inside the bed, right? It could be done. We have tie downs that go here, and it can go into the corner pockets. I really like a traditional tie down system. Yes, inside bed tie downs are actually quite valuable. It really, you know, I'm a fan of them, but I'm also a fan of being able to just get out of the cab, go around and check my tie downs and not have to get in here with a 4-jointed arm and try to tie stuff down. I'm a fan of the traditional. Now, I personally like fast guns because they're quicker, but in my situation, you know, I don't need to take or put the camper on there and leave it there all year. I'm going to be taking it on and off and on and off and on and off. So the fast guns are important to me, but these are Excels. They're really nice. Those are gonna do really well for them. But this has got the traditional torque lift tie downs. And then for this lady, she had older running boards on there, and we replaced these for her, put those running boards on. Now for her, it's just her, and she's gonna have her grandkids with her. So let's run in here and look. But before we do that, let's look at all of the propane and all of that. So this is a 20-pound propane tank, right? Vertical propane. It's exposed to inside temperature to keep it warm in the winter. She's not going to be doing a ton of 4-season camping, but this compartment will stay nice and warm, right? You can go one step further, and there's a particular way to duct heat into a compartment while remaining safe. Now, emphasis on particular way. So then this is a setup for the grill, right? You can just go and hook this up to a grill bottle, or you can do the extended stay, right? Add a tank out here if you're going to be out in the middle of winter and you're going to be in one spot and you want to throw another tank there. Okay, so there's that. This is the water system in here. This is the drain for the water system, right? It's just the sink draining out the wall. And this is something we do very commonly up here, folks, is a lot of people say, please get the water system out of it. And it's a lot of people with I mean, you can see all these different kinds of campers out here. Got a little Scamp over there. You got that Sprinter van. Got a bunch of Class A's up there. Another one. A lot of these people are coming to us and saying, hey, I don't want a water system in there. It freezes. It's a pain in the butt. And so we take it out. But we also have a lot of campers like that one that I was showing you in the beginning of the video right there. That has got an awesome setup in it. An amazing, you know, water system and capacity in there. I love what that camper is. Anyway, so everyone has a different need. So this has got a 20,000 BTU furnace in it, propane, more than enough for what she's doing, shoulder seasons. 30 amp service, nice little light here. This is on a switch on the inside, and then a bag awning right there. And then we try to make this standard on all of our campers, with the exception of certain categories. Those are the rain guards. And like, you can have that window open like that in the rain, and unless you're getting really harsh sideways rain, even in certain sideways rain, that's not going to allow water to get inside. I love those rain guards. Those are really, really awesome. Those came out about a year and a half ago, and we made them standard on everything we're building. All of it in the sliding category. Then she went with electric jacks. I love that option. I personally would not build a camper without them, simply because I am mildly impatient when it comes to those. Then let's run up top here, not upstairs, up the ladder. I always do this one-armed ladder climb on the videos. I would never do it otherwise. Anyway, so here we go. Up on the roof, she has got dual Zamp solar. It's 190 watts, 190 watts. So a total of 380 watts. And then she's got the Dometic 1450 vent. Now these are amazing solar panels. Zamp, I know you sold to Dometic. Dometic, I hope that you keep these panels rolling. We will have them for quite some time going further forward, and any panel we replace it with is going to be within this quality, within the parameters of the same quality. These have been getting made there in Bend, Oregon from Zamp here in the US, and they were doing an exceptional job. So we will see if that continues, but as of right now, that's still what we're running, and we're in the fall of 25. Anyway, so it's got our usual roof up here. This is 3-inch solid foam, right? And it's a SIP, so structural insulated panel, but then we sheet it with a loose hung aluminum roof. And there's pros and cons to that, but out of everything that we've been doing over the past 54 years, this roof is the one thing that will probably not change, and we have no plans of changing it through the foreseeable future. So it's just a very, 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 very good roof. It's proven itself over time, right? I personally am not a huge fan of this particular ladder up there, the sweeps. Not a huge fan of those, but that is a good ladder itself. The sweeps up top, we usually like to do the roof rack to where you can hold on to it, and you could see maybe that moving around is why. Anyway, side trail. So then she wanted that camera up there, and that is the Furrion camera. Got to set that up in her cab. So yeah, let's go inside. Got the steps here. This is not a one-handed job, so I'll set these up really quick. They make a bracket called a stow and go, and I really like it because these get to stay here all the time without coming on and off. Boom, very nice, nice and solid. Okay, let's take these out for now. Okay, go in there. So you can see on the fishhook platform, what I'm talking about is you get the cross-shaped dinette, but there are things that change, right? Instead of like in the fishhook, and I reference the fishhook because, guys, it's a very comfortable seat, right? It's a very comfortable design and build. It accomplishes a lot, right? You can keep the weight low and forward. You can keep it centered in the middle rather than this tippy side to side movement. You can keep a nice steady you know, trail down the road. It doesn't sway like a lot of pickup campers out there. So when I reference the fishhook, it's simply that particular design has solved a lot of design and user challenges and problems, right? You don't have to go with that, right? If you're not the type that likes this design, then don't go with it. But it just works for the majority of people, right? So on that one, we take and we put the cooler over here, their 12-volt refrigerator, and then this seat is a little bit smaller, right? And then this seat over here on this side is a little bit longer, right? So that's what she wanted to go with because she's got 2 grandkids, right? And they fit in here just fine, and it's just her, right? And those kiddos, so they fit right in here really well because this is going to make out into a bed, and I will make it out into a bed here in a minute. And then this is a queen size east-west mattress, right? So that's the layout. And then inside the bathroom here, this is just a stall, and this is so common. Let's get some lights on in here. Get that battery disconnect. She wanted the soft white lights there. And then another one in here. Okay, so you can see right here that porta pot can run this way or that way or however, and it's just a privacy stall, right? And it's actually a large privacy stall inside here for its size, for the size camper this is. You can see one hard measuring tape. You got 31 and a half, almost 32. And then inside here, you have about 22 inches. And the average person's shoulders are about 20 to 22. A big guy is about 22. Some guys obviously have got a wider shoulder span, but the majority of people, 19 inches, 18, 17, that's getting tight. But that's where most folks' shoulders are, and then go up from there. So just for you guys out there doing your own builds and everything, that's kind of your parameters, right? And you want to have more width from elbows up than in the floor area. You don't need as much. Now this is a common question as well, right here. You can see this angle. Well, the reason for that is on a long bed truck, this is where the wheel well on the other side in the bed fits right here into this zone, right? And so we try to build the campers as much as possible. You can see it over here as well, probably, maybe not, it's all sheeted off. We tried to build the campers as accommodating to resale value as we possibly can. There you go, you can see the angle. We try to build them accommodating to that because that's a big deal, right? You don't want to be upside down in a camper. 8 to 10 years go by and your camper still has a lot of value, or at least ours do, and you're like, well, our life has changed, let's shift into something else. And you need to be able to do that. So we try to make sure we do that in every build, unless you're flat like, no, I want to take the inside space to the bathroom and keep it. And if you're doing your own build, you can do the same, right? You can build it however you want, but that's why that's like that. Then some inside storage. Oftentimes we make this exterior access as well, and I've got that on another video here on the channel. I'll link the video at the end here. We try to get outside space if possible. But then right here, nice little functional storage space. Got adjustable aluminum shelves. You just change these spoons, right? And if you need to, you can move these blocks. We try to make it to where they don't rattle and bounce out, right? And then just a little closet rod. This is what you want to think about in your build, you guys, is having a closet rod, because hanging space, it comes at a premium in a pickup camper where there is already very little space. Then just have a little door. And then another common question is, why do you hang the door so high? Well, that's mats, right? You need to have room for a mat because, you know, in my experience, the majority of ladies, they leave here and they go straight to one of the grocery stores or department stores, Walmart, wherever, Fred Meyer, and there's like immediately $800 to $1,000 spent, right? Fair warning, everybody, that's part of your budget. And it's spent in little things like little racks that you hang on the wall for spices and things like that, a little mirror or something, different types of floor mats, organizers for up in the cabinets, all of those types of things. And I will tell you what, the first thing that's purchased, my wife too, was a mat, right? So whenever you make your doors and everything too close to the floor, they don't work with the mat. So that's why that's like that. We'll go over the electrical here in a minute too. But this is just a regular sink. This is the water system right here, just like in the fish hook. This is what works for so many people. Most people carry water anyway. They don't drink the water in a camper. And in fact, that camper up there that I've mentioned a couple times in the video here, that one has a pretty large filtration system in it. Well, maybe not pretty large, but I think it's a dual filter system, because they're very particular about their water, and rightfully so. That's how I would be with drinking water in a camper that has tanks, but I wouldn't drink it. I would drink out of a jug like this that I can take. I can wash it out. I can do whatever I need to, right? And then this right here, all kinds of stuff hangs here. These are incredibly useful. It's like having a box knife or something like that, or a Leatherman. You don't know everything. It's hard to give the list of how you use it until you're using it, right? So I personally like this. I hang frying pans here, stretch them across so that they stay there in the corner, all kinds of other stuff. Then obviously you need something like that, paper towel holder. Then right here, guys, the reason this is split level is to accommodate vertical propane. You tend to have less problems with vertical propane as opposed to horizontal. Now, with that said, you do not delete all problems, and there is not this big huge problem with a horizontal system. You can do a horizontal system successfully, not a problem. It's just these are easier to exchange if you need to. They're more available. They tend to be filled right if you're exchanging them, but I know the argument, it costs more to exchange it. They don't fill the tank all the way. I know that one pretty well, and that is very true. They underfill those tanks when you're just buying them at the gas station or the department store out of the locker. But it does increase your capability because you have more options with propane, right? And that tends to be where the problems come from with propane, is two areas. The propane needs heat, and you need good, properly filled tanks. Okay, then they have got USB outlets and everything here. That's kind of cool. Look at that. I didn't realize that had a little window. I guess these have windows now on them. You can just press on top of this and you get your voltage. That's pretty stinking, that's cool. But then you can shut it off. That way you can, you know, have your USB-Cs and everything, but that doesn't just sit there and drain the batteries. I like these. I like these a lot. Anyway, so there's that. This is the actual battery monitor that I pay attention to, though, and we'll get more on that here in a quick second. Tie it into the solar up top. Anyway, right inside here, you can see, try to maximize your storage, guys. Keep your stuff out of the way. Keep your oops, sorry, focusing issues. Try and get your drain out of your way when you're doing your own build or designing or whatever it is. But this is just all the miscellaneous gear that comes with the camper. And then of course the furnace over here, everything's ducted off. Let's open this up before we make this into a bed. So inside here, the electrical system, this is our 300 amp hour system. Now we're right in between shipments on batteries, so we've got another 100 of them coming in here, and so we're gonna get her another battery here pretty soon, as soon as they come in. They're about a week, 2 weeks away. But typically these have got this is ready for two batteries, right? It's just got 150 amp hour battery. So that's already double what most campers are. It's actually double what that other camper is that I keep showing over there. It's already double the battery power. But and from what most campers are. Now I know a lot of campers are starting to become a lot more robust with their electrical systems. But these batteries, many of you know on the channel pretty well already. If you're new, you don't. But we run silicone batteries up here in Alaska. We don't run lithium, even though lithium's amazing, very good for lower 48 builds that, you know, areas that are not in the Northwest. I encourage you all day long to do lithium. It's just superior technology. It's lighter. The amp hour to weight ratio is amazing, or a weight to amp hour ratio. You're not going to beat it. It's truly, your discharge cycles are through the roof. This is a very good tech for the cold, where the camper is going to be out in the cold. It's going to freeze. This is, you know, for a 2-3 week period, and then it's going to be warmed back up and all of that. These can handle that. You don't have to take them in and out. You don't have to worry about, you know, BMS and battery heaters. None of that. So yes, I'll be the first to tell you that lithium has got superior tech. It's amazing. But in the cold, this far outpaces AGM and just regular oil lead acid flooded batteries. I love these batteries, so that's why we run them. That's not to say there's not good competitive technology out there in the cold weather category. So this is what we run, and I like 300 amp hour as a base, so that would be another one here. Now moving on from that, this here, right, is a heat duct. We heat our battery base. That's very important. Battery temperature is everything. I don't care what the tech is. So what we do is we bring this down, right? And it doesn't have to be crazy perfect, right, with how you do this, guys, when you're doing your builds. But if you look underneath in here, you can see right there that there's a space underneath the battery. Now these are painted wood strips, right? This is, albeit wood is a poor insulator, but it is an insulator nonetheless. So you've got this reduces significantly the thermal bridging, as if you just had all that thermal transfer, as if you just had this battery right against the front wall, right? And so it gives you a little bit of a space of air around the batteries so that you can duct heat in here and it will stay warm, right? Or at least the ambient temperature around the battery completely is warm, rather than just having warm air on this side and this side, you actually have warm air all the way around, and you have an insulator break, right? This can be foam, it can be all kinds of stuff. So then we take this comes down here and it gets ducted into that channel, right? That ducts across the bottom, and then it comes up and it keeps everything warm. So that heat duct is coming right off of the furnace over here, okay? And that's a 20,000 BTU furnace. So that's how we do our battery bays. We try to get as good of a shot as possible to a good 4-season setup. And to me, a true 4-season setup is always in your power bank. It's not necessarily in your insulation value at all. It is in your power. How can you sustain power to that unit? And then can you outpace the R value or lack thereof with the right amount of BTU, the right amount of heat? In order to get BTU into a unit, well, that you've got your fuel cell that's going to give you a certain amount of BTU, and then you have your power that's going to feed the appliance that's going to give you that BTU, right? Very important to understand that. So it's all about heat, guys, more so than it is R value. Yes, you can get efficient R value, but it comes down to heat. So that's the battery bay, right? And then this is a 35 amp hour progressive dynamic power converter. This is how we do solar. Victron components are amazing. I love them. In simple situations like this or setups like this, they're unnecessary to go that complicated, right? You can use Victron and just use them on their simple side, but this right here is a PWM, right? It's not an MPPT. I have a hard argument against the necessity of MPPT when you're sub 400 watts. When you go above 400 watts and you need true performance, you need MPP all day long. MPPT, sorry. So this is just a 30 amp Go Power charge controller. That's it. I believe Dometic also just bought this company. Now, I really do like Victron. I like both of these. But this is more than enough. It's a very capable unit. And in fact, in many cases, this is my preference more than Victron for this type of an application. And it's because it's so stinking simple. You just are worried about voltage and your amperage. That's it. That's all you need to know, right? And you need to be able to see it in a really easy way. That's all. And these things are amazing. They do really good. So that's why we run them. Anyway, that's the electrical system. And then obviously your electric jacks there. And then the electric jacks are activated over here. And then these are all your switches for outside. This is cold air return, drawing all that air across the furnace and dragging it through the cabinet rather than allowing a cold refrigerator spot underneath the cabinet. Very important. And then of course you have your curtains, and then these can come off to get cleaned. These you don't want to throw them in the washing machine because they're plastic fabric. So let's turn this into a bed. Nice and tight. All right. Obviously, Lagoon table system, very nice. You can adjust it, do whatever you want, keep everything out of the way. But let's turn this into a bed. Get out of the way, up there. Okay. Okay. All right. Now, this can slide over, and so does this, just like so. And no, you cannot feel that there's even a hole under there when this is all done. Now, I personally like all the cushions to fit super tight, and the reason why, guys, is there's been so many builds in the past that we have done where the cushions will split out from underneath you while you're laying there. Now this here is a little bit larger on the fish hook as far as the bed goes itself, but you can see lays one right there, and this width is 28 inches, and then it is by 73 right there, or 75 from that side over to that side, and that's the bed. Now, and then here in itself, guys, is what a lot of folks' argument against this layout is, and this is my argument against it as well. You know, everyone's a little different, right? If you're gonna get down here in the middle of the night, you got to step over somebody. Very good argument, very good point. But most of the time in the middle of the day, there's just no way, you know, in the different, and we've designed and built hundreds of different layouts, not just hundreds of campers. We built thousands of those. It's just the hundreds of different layouts in campers. This one just works really, really, really well. And as far as the comfort for sitting, it's very hard to get that comfortable when you're sitting there, right? So get to know each other, step on somebody at night. But anyway, if you're somebody who likes to be able to get down unobstructed at night, go with a different layout than this one. But this one is pretty good. Now, this right here, I forgot about this one. But let's open this up. Right there. We try to maximize space as much as possible. That way there's not just a bunch of dead space there. And we did this again on another one over there on the channel. And then over here, got a nice little USB and 12-volt socket. Not bad. There's also one up here around the corner, just like that. Got a little reading light, another reading light over there. Got some basic storage up here, just like so. Got a Dometic 1450 vent, and you can see, you know, guys, that thickness in the roof. 3-inch foam. Let's do the one-handed measuring tape thing again. Can see, right? It's a 3-inch. It actually ends up being 3.5. But there you go. That's it, guys. Pretty simple stuff. Try to use as much storage space as possible in here. And the reason this step up is here, to answer other questions, it's there so that sitting at the table is nice and comfortable. I will give you the particular dimension that is ideal. Do you see that? That's how you want your raw framing to be framed. That's your dimension right there. As you want it, that is super comfortable when you're sitting there. Then you have in here another little bit of storage. It's those types of things. Maximize them, guys, as much as you can when you're designing. Get as much space as you can. Oh, gotta do some vacuuming. Gotta clean up some of this stuff. Right there, fire extinguisher, basic stuff. But guys, there you go. It's another really beautiful custom camper. And again, this is a 7-foot build. Okay, this is a smaller camper, and so, but it still feels nice and large in here, and it's because of this particular layout, right? And the weight is distributed nicely. So anyway, let's go out here and see what this sucker looks like. There you go. I don't think I missed anything. I think that looks good, and her color selection is just awesome. I love it. And it sits on there nice, and oh, that's important. This right here, this is what I think is basically vital if you're going to be doing even on several 2500s. I think that you should be doing the torque lift stable loads. You can see what they are right there. All it is a spacer on the bottom of the leaf spring. That really is important in my opinion. You can see there's one on each side, one on the front, one on the back, and then there's the same on the driver or passenger side. That is called stable load for a reason. Lots of stability. But all right, guys, I think that does it. Oh, here we go. Up underneath the camper, right there. You can see we already put these strips, and I'll put a little picture over the video here or something. We already do the strips underneath the camper, and that is treated plywood, and that's to stop all of any kind of rot on the bottom of the camper or water damage. And I will put another picture over the screen right now of that. of water just sitting in the bed. You want to drill relief holes in the front of your bed, okay? And then we'll do another picture here really quick, but I'll show you how this wood platform is then screwed to the bottom of the, or to the plywood. These are, again, plywood strips, not a full sheet of plywood. That's too heavy and you don't need it, right? The only critique and improvement I would do is I would put a rubber mat inside this truck rather than just putting it right on this smooth metal, okay? But the reason why this platform is there is because Chevy has got this going on, right? They've got this angle. They don't do this anymore, that curve right there. What it does is it makes it to where your camper can't be as wide in the back, because we flare our campers out at the back. We step them out like that, and that gives you maximum space on the inside. It gives you a maximum space in the bathroom as well, and that's why they're flared like that. But that little radius there brings in the issue, and so we do this platform under there, and that steps it up away. It ends up giving you more space than you'd otherwise need here, and the same thing up underneath the cab. But it is an important piece in my opinion, right? All right, I promise now I'm done. You guys can go and watch other walkthrough videos. 8.5 footer that's very similar to this, that is up here. We'll put it on the end, one of the end screen cards or whatever. And yeah, very beautiful camper right there. I love that thing. I'm very proud of that camper, very proud. All right guys, there you go, 7 footer on a 1500. Cheers, catch you on the next one.